roughly at this point, back in 2020, the ETH started bottoming versus Bitcoin, and then took a while to base and then went up like a rocket ship for the entire next year. I managed to capture that entire trend. And it's very normal for crypto spring for Bitcoin to outperform. And then as we come into crypto summer that we're transitioning into now, ETH starts to outperform Bitcoin. This is a terribly unpopular thing to say because people say, well, ETH is dead. It's a dead chain. It's not working, blah, 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 blah. Just wait. Have patience. You'll see. Will it outperform Solana? I very much doubt it. Solana's earlier in the adoption curve, so it means the percentage changes are larger. So that's how I see it with that. You can see the start of crypto spring, which was the breakout of this pattern and the slight acceleration. That's as we're getting to warmer days of spring, as it were. But really, summer happens when you break the previous all-time high in market cap and things go utterly bananas.
We are currently at the point in the crypto cycle that in the last crypto cycle back in 2020, Ethereum and Solana began massively outperforming. That's the latest observation out from macroeconomic investor Raoul Pal. In his latest crypto bull market update, Raoul broke down some of his insights in which he has observed that it is generally this part of the crypto cycle in which we begin crypto summer that altcoins including Ethereum and Solana go up like a rocket ship. Although Raoul rarely gives price predictions anymore, his work on the Everything Code suggests that we will see Bitcoin hit around $270,000 per coin by the end of 2030 and Ethereum hit somewhere close to $20,000 per ETH by the end of 2025. However, Raoul warns investors to not take his projections as gospel but as a guideline. One other thing to note now as we transition into what Raoul calls the banana zone is that this is the first crypto cycle in which we have now both approvals for spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. This means that this is the first crypto cycle we're going to see play out that has actual institutional capital behind it, which could be a game changer. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video as Raoul reveals exactly what date he believes crypto prices will top out by, and it all comes down to liquidity. If you want to check out the full bull market update, check out the first link in the description and be sure to subscribe to Raoul Pal's The Journeyman channel. But without further ado, here's Raoul on why he thinks from here on in we see Ethereum and Solana outperform massively.
So let's forecast out liquidity a bit further using the Everything Code. So we saw that chart before. This is ISM going forwards. Last time I showed you the ISM versus liquidity, but here's ISM going forwards, which says the business cycle is going to rise. This is why currently cyclical stocks, commodities are rising because the ISM is starting to pick up. But we can also forecast it out, and it gives us a peak in global liquidity in September 2024. So this year, we'll see a peak. Don't worry, a peak is not a peak of markets. This is a year-over-year rate of change. We don't end up getting to negative liquidity until December 2025. So this is why I think this cycle runs between now, and it started in 2022, sometime in 2025, somewhere probably towards the latter end. Normally, the crypto markets end in December. Maybe it comes a bit sooner. We'll have to be on alert for that. But basically, this is how we see liquidity playing out. Again, don't expect perfection. I'm not expecting to be perfect, but it'll give you a pretty decent idea. You don't need a massive liquidity cycle either. You don't need 2020 to drive these things up. You just need liquidity to be positive and stay positive for markets to work their magic. Now, those forecasts, if I use the log channel of global liquidity, using the Everything Code forecast doesn't look unreasonable. Doesn't look unreasonable at all. Now, it might not get to 2 standard deviations. Maybe it's 1 standard deviation like it got to in 2017. Remember the crypto market then? That was la la land. 2013, 1 standard deviation, a complete wild crypto market. So again, you don't need the massive liquidity, you just need liquidity. And so that's where we think it might go. Let's see how it plays out. That corresponds with the log channel in Bitcoin, obviously. And that would give us something like a forecast of around 270,000 by the end of this year. again, please don't hang on to my forecast. Say, Raoul Pal forecast 270,000 this year. That's not what I'm trying to do here. What I'm trying to do is contextualize stuff for you and say, listen, between now and the end of the year, it's going up a decent amount. Is it 150,000? Is it 250,000? Is something in the middle? I don't know, and I don't really care. And nor should you. People get too hung up on forecasts when this asset is just going up over time. Anyway, it means this year will be a very strong year. And we can plug in some forecasts. And I don't like giving these out to people because people, again, will take this out of perspective. They'll say, Raoul Pal forecast $400,000 Bitcoin headline. That's bullshit. What I'm saying is, using our model, we see significant continued upside into 2025, where then liquidity starts falling. And so sometime around the second half of the year, we will see a topping pattern in Bitcoin and therefore crypto. And it suggests that it should be strong. Even if you halve my targets, halve the analysis that comes out of the model, that's still a great year. That's my point. Please do not tell me that I'm forecasting $400,000 Bitcoin. I'm not going to take that because people deal with it irresponsibly, and that's not the right thing. I'm just saying it's going up a lot. Also, Fed liquidity is the driver of the ETH Bitcoin cross, which is a proxy for altcoin season. Now, it's very interesting because we're now coming into the halving, and it was roughly at this point back in 2020 that ETH started bottoming versus Bitcoin, and then took a while to base and then went up like a rocket ship for the entire next year. I managed to capture that entire trend. And it's very normal for crypto spring for Bitcoin to outperform. And then as we come into crypto summer that we're transitioning into now, ETH starts to outperform Bitcoin. This is a terribly unpopular thing to say because people say, well, ETH is dead. It's a dead chain. It's not working, blah, 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 blah. Just wait. Have patience. You'll see. Will it outperform Solana? I very much doubt it. Solana's earlier in the adoption curve, so it means the percentage changes are larger. So that's how I see it with that. You can see the start of crypto spring, which was the breakout of this pattern and the slight acceleration. That's as we're getting to warmer days of spring, as it were. But really, summer happens when you break the previous all-time high in market cap and things go utterly bananas. Let's talk about crypto summer, just in a very simplistic terms. Here's the chart of the seasons. So spring is green. We had a great spring this year. Summer is when a lot of the gains start to happen. Fall was tricky last time around. We got a stunted cycle. If you remember, that kind of double toppy style thing was highly unusual. 2017, 2013 were more typical, obviously, of the fall season. And so we don't know how this one's going to play out. I think it plays out more like 2013, 2017, but it's all assessing the odds as we go. But right now, this is the easy year, the summer. So we should just be able to set it, forget it, and let the gains accumulate. Very soon, like in the next month and a half, we will start to hit the banana zone. And this is what happens when you hit the banana zone. Things get absolutely wild, which is the really magical part of why this is the greatest macro trade of all time, is this part. And it's coming. Will it look the same as others? Who knows? Some have been absolutely crazy. Others were more difficult, like the last cycle. But that's usually what happens when we hit altcoin season from summer and then into fall. Things get really, really exciting. Now, at Exponential Age Asset Management, I won't talk much about that, is we actually build a whole portfolio allocation of where we want to be on the risk curve using lots of factors that Julian Bissell has put together, from the everything code, valuation percentiles, volatility, where we are in alt season, different measurements of all of this, these 9 different things, and then give it a total score. Right now, we're at 9.2 out of 10. So almost at max risk taking, but we're not there yet because we haven't got, we're not fully into summer that day will come and we allocate to managers accordingly. This kind of risk scoring is just a summary of what I've been talking about. Is right now, this is the time to take risk. Don't use leverage. Be careful what you own. Have fun out there and do it right. So hopefully what I've done here is try and teach you why this matters, why you should, in this festival of learning, listen to other people and learn some skills, how not to fuck this up, which is crucially important because you're being given a gift, why it's such a big gift, how ridiculous the returns have been over time and are likely to be going forwards. Obviously, there's no guarantee, but I don't see anything changing. How the everything code plays into this, how the refinancing of debts every 4 years creates a 4-year cycle that happens to correspond with the Bitcoin halving cycle and the US presidential election cycle, how that breaks down into different seasons, how liquidity plays into this and how demographics play into it, and how liquidity is being used to debase your currency, making your future self poorer. And then I've shown you how crypto fits into your portfolio to offset not only the debasement, it's a life raft for your asset, but it also happens to be an asset that goes up more than any other asset of all. And this is not funny internet money. It's actually driven by macro. It's driven by the business cycle, like all other assets are. It's driven by the liquidity cycle, which happens to be, we think, pretty forecastable. Yes, it gives some crazy numbers for performance. And again, they're not my targets. I don't really care where it gets to in price, because the next cycle it's going to be higher, and the cycle after that higher, even if the returns lower over time. Maybe they don't. There's a big thesis out there that we will get tapering returns and the log channel of Bitcoin is the wrong way to look at it. I don't see any evidence of that in the NASDAQ. That's been a powerful log channel for a very long time now. I don't see any reason why you need to get lower returns, but maybe we do. I'll worry about that when we get to 4 billion users. So in a nutshell, this space is going from 2.7 trillion in market cap. It'll get to something like 12 trillion in this cycle. It'll then have an inevitable bear market. Whether it's as big as the previous bear markets or not, we can't tell. We've now got new participants putting in their 401k money every 2 weeks. Maybe they all panic out. Nobody knows. But it doesn't matter, because those sell-offs are the opportunity. If you can, take some lifestyle chips off. Protect yourself in the great crazy days later this year. And then you're fine. Then you can run it if you want to. You don't have to. I will. And then you can add into the bear market when everybody's scared, because you've got a plan. This is the plan. This is the framework that you need to have confidence. Just keep going.
So there's Raoul Pal's insights into the current crypto cycle. As we've learned, from this point on, Ethereum and Solana are poised to outperform massively, just like they did in 2020. Raoul's projections for Bitcoin and Ethereum by 2030 and 2025 respectively are ambitious but are intended as guidelines rather than certainties. As we enter into what Raoul calls the banana zone, the approval of spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs introduces a new dynamic with institutional capital potentially changing the game. It's an exciting time for the crypto market, and Raoul's insights provide a valuable perspective. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Raoul Pal's The Journeyman channel for more updates and in-depth analysis. Make sure to check out the full bull market update through the first link in the description. Stay tuned for more updates, and as always, do your own research before making any investment decisions. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one, and as always, all the best.